Now, the US president is hosting the British Prime Minister at his golf resort in Scotland. Donald Trump and Keir Starmer are expected to discuss trade and the humanitarian situation in Gaza. But before the official talks began, Donald Trump did speak about the situation in Gaza. Take a listen to what he had to say.
Well, I think nobody's done anything great over there. The whole place is a mess. It'll get straightened out, but it's a mess. They have to get food and safety right now. And ultimately, look, Hamas did a horrible thing, and they paid a big price, but Hamas did a horrible thing. But I always said when you get down to the final 20, they won't release them, because that's like their shield.
We can now bring in our international affairs editor, Kethevane Gorjestani. Kethevane, you heard that from the US president speak before those official talks got underway. He spoke about how he called on Netanyahu that he should potentially do things differently.
Yes, and there was a question from the reporter which started this conversation about Gaza, which was, do you agree with the Israeli Prime Minister when Benjamin Netanyahu says there is no starvation in Gaza? Donald Trump to that question responded, I don't know, but then said that from the images that he had seen, those children do look very hungry. That's how he responded to that question, and then went on to sort of put into question, at least a little bit, the way Israel was handling things in Gaza, and making those comments about that the place was a mess and that they needed more food, more safety. He also talked about how the United States is helping with the humanitarian situation, and also praising the UK for trying to intervene in that situation. Of course, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, sort of jumped in to that conversation when Donald Trump was saying he didn't really know if there was a starvation, to say that this was a humanitarian crisis, and that people in the UK, at least, were revolted by what they were seeing on their TV screen. So that was pretty much the gist of what was said about Gaza. This is a topic that the UK Prime Minister's office said ahead of this meeting that they would want to discuss, because, of course, in the past few days, Keir Starmer has been speaking both with the German Chancellor and the French President about what the Europeans can do to make things a little bit better, at least when it comes to the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip.
And did they talk about the war in Ukraine? Because that is also expected to feature as well in these discussions.
Absolutely. And I think that was probably one of the topics in that very short gaggle that the U.S. president did that maybe was the biggest newsworthy item, when he said that he was looking to reduce the 50 days to a lesser number. What is he referring to? He's referring, of course, to that sort of deadline that he gave the Russian president to get to the table and actually make a peace deal with Ukraine. He had said that he was giving Vladimir Putin 50 days. So he's saying that he's going to reduce that, adding that he already knows the answer, seemingly hinting to the fact that he doesn't believe that the Russian president is going to agree to any form of a peace deal. And so therefore, what he seemed to be hinting at was that there wasn't really any reason to wait those 50 days because he already knew what the answer would be at the end. So we'll see whether Donald Trump develops any of those comments when it comes to the Russian president. And of course, this meeting is also supposedly going to be about a trade. There is a framework deal that was signed between the UK and the United States, but it is a framework. There are a lot of details still to be worked out, and there were a few questions from reporters about that. Reporters asking about what is happening with the question of whiskey, with the question of steel and aluminum, and there the U.S. president didn't give any indication as to what would happen. He even said, I didn't know there was a problem with whiskey. So we'll see if we get any new announcement on sort of the details of the deal. The UK Prime Minister's office ahead of this meeting saying we shouldn't wait for any major breakthrough or any major announcement, at least on the trade front for now.
Kethevane, thank you very much for that. Kethevane Gorjestani there.